It is episode 105. It's our first duplicate of the set.
Really?
Yeah, we still have Luthez.
Is that fair?
I think so, because this is one you'll remember. You know, there are some duplicates. Some of the top stars, some of the tag teams get split up. Some of the tag teams get put together. So today on 55 and 5, your 5-minute history lesson on the 1955 Parkhurst Wrestling trading card set. We're going one by one through all 121.
And before you reveal it,
yeah,
this will mean there are only 16 cards remaining after this.
It's
been a lot of fun.
It has. We're going to have to do the 54 set after this. Probably a lot of similar history lessons.
You tell me I know something, it's a duplicate, so I better remember something.
You will.
I may not.
You will. This is one of the cooler cards in the set. We talked about sometimes they don't feature the man on the offensive, like the last one, Big Ben Morgan, he was on the defensive. This one's pretty neat, though. The subject is the man trapped in the ropes trying to be saved by the referee. He was a villain, so that's probably all right. Cary, your hint yesterday was he was bigger in Japan than he was in his native Canada. And What can you tell me about Mike Sharpe?
Now at least it makes sense why it's a duplicate. Because it's Mike Sharpe.
Right.
And we had the Sharpe brothers, and who were California-based legitimate brothers.
Yep.
And they made their mark in pro wrestling in LA and San Francisco, I think even more.
They were even bigger in San Francisco, yeah.
And they had connections with the early Japanese promotions. It had to be so strange. And when I was reading this Yogi Berra book recently, it plays into this.
Yeah.
It talks about going to Japan in like 49.
Really?
Or 50, yeah.
Wow.
Or maybe it was 51. But it was like, the war barely was over. But they were trying,
mend fences and make peace.
Right, right. So, So, Mike Sharpe. Now, excuse me, but did we ever establish is he no relation to the Mike Sharpe we know from the 80s?
No, he's his father.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Mike Sharpe, like you said, one half of the Sharpe brothers, he and his brother were in the Royal Canadian Air Force in World War II. And that's actually how they got into wrestling. Both were too big to be able to fly in a cockpit. So Mike Sharpe in particular, they both wanted to fly, but instead Mike Sharpe, who I believe is 6'3", would load bombs onto ships and load bombs onto planes from the ships. So he and his brother were stationed in Europe, and in Europe they would meet Lord James Blears, and Lord James Blears got them their start in wrestling in Europe. And they come back to Canada, they get some more reps in. They were huge in San Francisco. I mean, they were 18-time tag team champions there. They also helped build the Hawaii territory in a big, big way. In 1954, the Sharpes are brought to Japan, and they draw the massive rating. I mean, they are the villains against Masahiko Kimura and Ricky Dozen. And that's the big tag team match that sets everything on fire. And people are crowded around their television sets. There's estimated handful of 1,000 sets sold. And then that match happens and everybody's got to go buy a TV.
Right. And there's probably only 2 or 3 channels.
Right.
And everybody was watching wrestling.
Yeah.
People are wondering, I usually don't stare at the cards.
Yeah.
And I'm not staring at it because of the image, which is, once again, another referee in a white outfit.
Right.
But what I'm staring at, since I'm a collector also, and I never was a fan of grading cards. They've graded this card an excellent -MT.
Yeah.
So it's between excellent and mint. And it's graded as a 6. Now, which means collectors, there's a 7, 8, 9, and 10 would be gem mint.
Yeah.
I know it's not gem mint.
Sure.
But damn, why can't it be an 8 or a 9?
That's a nice card. Yeah. The centering's
good.
Centering's good. This bottom right corner is probably your big miss. Although
what did I miss?
The bottom right's a little dinged up, but that's about it. It's a real nice card. It's probably one of the nicer. I have only a handful of 6s. Once you get to 6 in the 55 set, the price starts to go up pretty big.
Right. There's so few of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike Sharpe. Well, at least it gave me a clear understanding of why there would be a duplicate.
Yeah, and we have a couple more, but interesting to know about Mike Sharpe. We talked about it when we talked about the Sharpe brothers. He would be flown over to Japan later in his life just to do interviews, just to come over, say a couple words on TV, come to the shows as guests, and then leave. And that's how highly respected and valued he was to the Japanese wrestling.
Which happened later as the years passed, Freddie Blassie.
Right. Yeah.
Even though he was a heel.
Yes.
And,
same thing with Mike Sharpe. Yeah.
Same with Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody.
The Destroyer.
Terry Funk and the Destroyer. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Very good stuff.
Yeah, very revered. Father of Mike Sharpe, like you said. He, in his obituary, it mentions that he was kind to a fault. He would often let anybody who wanted to stay in his house. If he needed a meal or shirt or clothes, he'd bring you in. He'd get you cleaned up and make sure you're set and send you back on his way. And so really, really, it's nice finding out about some of these.
Just like you.
No, that's you.
No.
Yeah. Well, Mike Sharpe, a good guy, raised a good kid, Mike Sharpe Jr., who's in the WWF for quite some time, and great family of wrestlers there. So we hailed the Sharpes.
That was a good 5 lot.
Yeah.
We're going to be coming back with 106 to 110.
Yeah, next week, and it's going to be a lot of
111
fun.
to 115.
Yeah.
And then the grand finale.
The grand finale.
It's almost like when AJ and I just got finished with The Sopranos.
There you go.
Because we were watching like in 3 lots.
Okay.
And the last one we could have done a 2 and a 2.
Yeah.
But no, we did a 4.
There you go. And I think you know who I'm saving for the end.
I think so.
I think, yeah, we got to save him. We still got Lou Thez. We still got Buddy Rogers. We still.
No more little people.
I think we're all out. I looked it up. The 54 set's got a couple more. So now I got to buy the 54 set. We got to learn about these people.
Well, thank you, Ian.
Yeah, thank you, Cary. We had a lot of fun. We hope you join us next week. Thanks for following along. We're at 105. We're going to be at 106. We want to thank Conrad from Ad Free Shows for hosting the audio edition. We want to thank AJ, our producer. We want to thank Cary, Uncle, Gunny, Captain Lou, and thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy wrestling.